You guys, the games industry has like never been more cooked than it currently is. Everything is just like you make a good game, you get laid off. You make a bad game, you get laid off. You announce a game a week ago, your studio potentially gets shut down a week later. It is all on fire. And you know, we just talked a couple of days ago about the Blade game and how we didn't see it at the Xbox showcase. A lot of people were worried about it. Everyone was like, well, is this game going to be canceled now? And there were insiders and a bunch of people who had come out to say, hey, that is not happening. The game is going along well. And they were also saying that there was a reason as to why Blade didn't show up during the Xbox showcase. Representatives at Xbox were asked about it and they said, hey, listen, it was a big show. We had a lot of things that we wanted to provide for people. Blade just couldn't make it into that show. And they just kind of dodged the question about when we could see it, but they just said that we could see it at some point in the future. Meaning, I mean, of course, Blade was still in development, right? Of course, we still could see Blade come out. But here we are in a very different position because for some reason, leadership at Xbox has things changing by the hour. Decisions are being made at this very second that were different from the last second. And I'm honestly starting to get a little frustrated with all of it. In this particular situation, we're hearing about a lot of studios maybe being shut down that are currently owned by Xbox. And we have a report here from Mike Straw Media. Now, according to some people that I inquired with, this dude definitely gets some things right, has a good track record, so I am going to take everything that he's saying here at face value. And Mike here tweets out saying, fine, 2 of the studios I've been told, including getting messages from employees at the locations who are quote-unquote scared, are Compulsion and Arkane. Despite public messaging, many within the studio have expressed real worry and have overheard conversations about the future of the studios. I've reached out to Xbox for comment, but to no avail thus far. To catch you up on the context if you are missing it, right now there are a lot of rumors circulating about a bunch of studios being owned by Xbox that may be shut down, and massive layoffs that are currently on the way. And in fact, Xbox themselves have kind of communicated that much in saying that sometimes they gotta make some tough decisions, and it does look like layoffs are going to be arriving at some point in July. Obviously, Xbox in general is going through a massive restructuring. We had heard that at one point or another, Gears of War E-Day was maybe going to be coming to the PlayStation 5, and at the last minute, at the 11th hour, at the buzzer beater, they ended up making it an Xbox console exclusive. Although all of that is like up in the air as to whether or not that's actually what happened. There's so many wild, conflicting reports out there that it's impossible to keep up. But the gist of this current situation is Xbox is basically looking at all the studios that they own and saying, which one are we going to get rid of? And it almost feels like they're just going to pluck a name out of a hat. And how incredibly unfair and sad and so frustrating once again that they're handling all of this way, and that all the messaging that we end up having to receive is so muddied. But of course, the mentioning there from Mike Straw Media over on Twitter saying that Arkane is one of those studios that is worried, that is scared of a potential shutdown, means that is the studio working on Blade, which could also then imply that the Blade game is just going to get canceled. Now, granted, that could end up not happening, but it also would then be at the expense of other people losing their jobs and other studios getting shut down, which is also equally unfair. I'm just covering the situation here specifically because we're a big fan of the folks at Arkane Lyon, and I am very much looking forward to the Blade game, or at least I hope I can look forward to it. And right now, we don't even know if that game is going to come out anymore. And it's just so annoying because we live in this industry where anytime a game is announced at this point, there is no confirmation or guarantee that you're going to be able to get that game in your hands. And do you want to know how bad it is? It's real bad, okay? We had the Xbox showcase last week. Tons of awesome Xbox games that were revealed and announced, a lot of which I'm honestly looking forward to, including Gears of War E-Day. I think it looks incredible. One of the games that was showcased during that presentation was Senua. Now, there's a whole franchise here made by Ninja Theory, which now is potentially on the chopping block. That's right, they just announced a new game from Ninja Theory in this franchise called Senua. It honestly looks pretty good. And now they might be shutting down that studio, which also would then again imply that that game might not come out. They just announced the game. What are we doing here, Xbox? Like, what in general is happening to the games industry? Like, we live in this situation where it's like, okay, if a game comes out and it's not successful, it doesn't meet the critical reviews that it needed to, doesn't sell the kinds of copies that it needs to, all right, unfortunately, they did not make the profit they required, and some people are going to get laid off. That always sucks, but I guess you can somewhat reason with it if that were the outcome. But if a game does well, reviews well, sells well, people still get laid off. If Xbox wants to announce a game, they still shut down the studio a week later. Like, what? How? What? Like, what? What are we even doing? And so, again, here we are in this situation. Arkane Lyon might get shut down, might be one of those studios that Xbox decides to just axe completely, and then we might not see that Blade game. And I understand as well that some people's knee-jerk reaction to all this is going to go, well, they need to stop announcing these games so early because then it could lead to these outcomes. I get it. I understand the frustration behind people who don't want to know about these games so early and then not hear about them for several years. Believe me, I'm one of those people. But I also understand that for as much as those trailers are sometimes for the fans, for people to get excited and to look forward to these games, it also is a way to entice a lot of people out there and recruit a lot of people out there to work for the studios making those games. Sometimes these trailers are essentially a way to send out a message to the games industry and say, hey, we're making this really cool game, come work for us and help us make it. So on that like business side, I understand why games get announced super early, and I do feel like it's going to keep happening in some regards. But on the fan side, on the consumer side, I'm also like, yeah, we need to stop doing that if it's just gonna lead to games getting canceled and not coming out at all. Because then it's like, wow, wasted manpower on a CG trailer that means nothing to anybody anymore. And I'm just so bummed because, again, Arkane Lyon is an incredibly talented developer. I think Dishonored is an amazing franchise. Deathloop, I'm pretty sure, won Game of the Year at some outlets. And they were going to do something real different with Blade. It was going to be a third-person action game. It was set in Paris. The art style, at least based on that reveal trailer, looked really cool and unique. They weren't going for like hyper-realism, which I honestly thought was so cool in a different angle. I just really wanted to see what their take was going to be on this character and this game. And again, we were talking not too long ago how insiders were saying that they didn't show it during the Xbox showcase for good reason. And again, that things were going well with development. We had developers that were tweeting out to people saying, is this game coming out? With gifts saying, let us cook. And now a week later, we hear that the studio making this game might get shut down. I'm so mad. I'm honestly so mad. I'm over it. I just want my games to come out and be excited for them and look forward to them and at least give them a fair shot. Everything now in the games industry has to be a surefire, guaranteed hit. Otherwise, thousands of people lose their jobs. I don't know. I'm ranting again. I apologize for such a negative video, but this is just such a bummer to be reporting on after what we were talking about last week. So I guess this is the situation that we're in. I guess this is where we're at currently. Blade might not ever see the light of day. Arkane Lyon, a talented development team, a talented studio, might get shut down entirely. I really have nothing more to say besides that. I'm bummed out, but I guess now I'm going to kick it to you guys. Sound off with your thoughts in the comments section below. How do you feel about this news? Do you think that the Blade game is going to potentially survive here? Do you think that Arkane Lyon is going to survive? Jason Schreier himself is the one to say that Xbox of July is going to look very different from that of Xbox in June. And it looks like Xbox in June looks very different from the way that it looked like a week ago. Now I'm going to kick it to you guys, though, again. Sound off with all your thoughts in the comments. I've been Caboose. I'll see you guys later.